whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
Generator, your life goes on uninterrupted because you'll have power when you need it the most.
Number one thing to prepare for is. All right, y'all. Yeah, I've seen enough of you too, Tim. All right, y'all. What's up? What's up? We're gonna get started in a minute. This is, of course, I am about to play this video for you, fair use. This is coming from CBS, of course. Our main thing. Good evening. First off, hold on. Let me do this right. We are live, and I'm coming at you with 5. Welcome, everyone, to another exciting edition of Random Topic Thursdays, the hottest live stream here in the cosmos of social media, whether you're watching via YouTube, Facebook, or X, as well as Rumble. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. We can smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Let everybody know, especially if you're following me on X, that I'm live right now, ladies and gentlemen. I actually had tweeted this thing out, and I don't know why it's not generating any traction. Usually it's going to generate in a little bit, so I'm just going to tell everybody right now. We're going to share the video on there so everybody know we're live at the moment. Shout out to you, Danielle. Danielle has always been supportive. She says she's watching from work. She's working right now, but she's going to be checking in. We have a good episode we're talking about tonight. One thing I want to talk about, I'm not going to be I always say I'm not going to be too long, like a pastor, but y'all know it's always going to go long when I say that. So I'm not going to say that. But I will say this shouldn't be a very long show. Although that's kind of technically saying the same thing. I've had a very long day since 6 o'clock really this morning. Getting up, I'll share this with y'all. As a public defender, I had over 100 people on the docket, well over 105 people. Honest God, not all of them were my clients. No, I would have just quit at that point. But I had at least... I would say close to 20% of them were my people. And a lot of people don't know, especially the work that we do. They pass us off and don't think that public defenders are not real attorneys. Like I get clients who say, well, I don't want you. I want a real attorney. Public defenders are actually the realest of attorneys in America. Believe me, private lawyers, they can actually outwork private lawyers. We outwork the prosecutor's office. Many people don't understand that aspect of it. And being a private attorney, being a public defender, now I worked as a private attorney as well. And, you have more freedom. You can move around a lot and you make money, but you can make more money than, yes, a public defender, but it's just a steady paycheck. And at the same time, you also learn more practicing in the PD's office or even working for the state because it gives you experience and it gives you growth. So a lot of people, just for the general public, they don't understand it because they think we're just passing each other off, or passing clients off, which is not necessarily the case all the time, but they base that off our caseload. But come step a day in my shoes and maybe you'll understand. So my eyes getting Oh, we got, before I guess get into the big thing we're going to talk about, I was going to comment on this shit. Swollen Martin. Swollen got caught with his pants down. I got to be careful. Swollen, he got caught in something the public shouldn't see. He got caught looking at stuff no Christian, hell, no Buddhist, damn sure no Muslim, no black Muslim would ever want to see. I'm not even, I always knew just by how sassy he was, he had a little sugar in his tank. Hey, Swollen. Now, you know, I like to get my freak on. Now, they said, if you go back and look at it a couple of days ago, everybody's been talking about it. Yeah, Roland has always been sassy. And Roland had this pic, I guess, was going in on this video with Dana Bash was interviewing Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, Vice President Harris and Walz on CNN about Trump and questioning her blackness when she said, next question. And after the video played, supposedly it automatically switches to, and with X, it switched to another video. And the video, let's just say it, had some glazed buns, not from a woman, that were on there. And Roland was like a deer in the headlight. He know his arms were too short. He couldn't even reach the mute button. I couldn't. I gotta stop the screen. And the sister Angela Stanton King, and I've spoken to her before. Angela Stanton King, she retweeted it, and I think at this point it had Angela Stanton King's tweet, and he responded to her, had like 250,000 views, probably more than that, but I think it's probably out 1 million what she retweeted, and it took off. Tariq went in and roasted him. I think brother Phil Scott talked about him, TD Hip Hop, and yeah, so she is going in. She doesn't care for him. And you know, her and Angela, you know, Roland dislikes anybody, basically anybody that speaks out against the Democratic Party. Like the brother Tyrese had some questions. He had Ben Crump on about how blacks are being ignored by the Democrats and how the agents had a hate crime bill. And Roland did a 3-minute video trying to check him, saying that's a lie, and it wasn't a lie, asshole, because it's in the bill. Specifically the purpose and intent of what they were trying to do, and it provided. I did a whole video, just like you said. I covered it on my show. I covered it on my show too, as well as others. And here's the thing, Roland. Unlike you and me, you yourself, I have a law degree, and that goes for anybody else who says the bill, who tries to say, well, no, the bill was there. It was a COVID-19 package bill. It was a COVID-19 bill. That's correct. It was part of a package. However, the purpose and the intent in that preamble, what they specifically mentioned in those acts, they did highlight Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, to the point that in 2021, and I remember this, did they not have the K-pop group? I can't think of their name. It was a K-pop. I don't know the name of it, but the K-pop group who came to the White House to speak on, and they had them actually speaking to the press about anti-Asian hate. BTS, that's them. That was 2 years ago. And it was reported on every major, by every major news media. And you have these assholes who are trying to shame black folks who are not standing with Kamala Harris. I mean, it's gotten ridiculous, guys. They want to vote shame you, and they haven't learned their lesson. You can't shame people. You know, you want to shame somebody because they're not voting their way. Who the fuck are you? I don't have to vote the way you got to think. If everybody voted the same way, black people are not a monolithic group. If everybody thought the same thing, there's a problem. That's just like what General Patton even said, that if everybody's saying the same thing, there's something wrong. If everybody thought the same way, there's something wrong in the movement. If everyone's thinking alike, yeah, he said, then someone isn't thinking. That's what Patton said. Everybody doesn't have to agree and vote the same way. You vote. This is a business decision when people vote. Every other group is business. It's not about emotions. It's not about who look nice or making history with them. You think the Jewish community cared about that? They had, when Al Gore ran for president in 2000, and he had Joe Lieberman as his vice presidential candidate. I'm not stereotyping, but do you honestly think, typically speaking, do you think the Jewish community, the Jews were just gonna go vote for Al Gore because he got Joe Lieberman? No, they were gonna vote based on policies. They had the K-pop group here. They talked about anti-Asian discrimination. Y'all remember this? About hate crimes against Asians. Y'all remember?
Islander Heritage Month. I'm excited to welcome some special guests to the briefing room today. Pop phenoms, BTS. Woohoo! While many of you may know BTS as Grammy-nominated international icons, they also play an important role.
Now, let me ask you something. All the shit that happened to black people, they ain't had Jodeci come up on at the White House press, behind the White House press secretary, to speak on a black hate crimes bill. Not Jodeci, not Blackstreet. Not the Hot Boys, not Master P. They brought BTS out there.
Youth ambassadors promoting a message of respect and positivity. After this briefing, they will join President Biden in a discussion about Asian inclusion, representation, and diversity, as well as addressing an anti-Asian hate crimes and discrimination.
It is a great honor to be invited to the White House today to discuss the important issues of anti-Asian hate crimes, Asian inclusion, and diversity.
네, 오늘은
June said today is the last day of the AANHPI Heritage Month. We joined the White House to stand with the AANHPI community and to celebrate.
네,
Jimmy said we were devastated by the recent surge of hate crimes, including Asian American hate crimes. To put a stop on this and support the cause, we'd like to take this opportunity to voice ourselves once again.
So they went through all of them. You can play our whole video if you want.
네, 오늘 저희가 이 자리에 올
point. They highlighted
We
this
are here
stuff
today
during
thanks to our
AAPI.
army,
They made
our
it a
fans
priority,
worldwide,
and they
who have
passed
different
the bill.
nationalities and cultures and use different languages. We are truly and always grateful.
I'm not going to play all of it, but they passed an Asian hate crimes bill. It's there. And I went over it, just like you say, and look, CNBC talks about, look at when I typed it up, look, Al Jazeera, ABC News, Reuters, Atlanta 11 Alive. Look at all they have. Senate passes a rare bipartisan bill. This is from ABC. So
and get this, Lindsay, the law would even allow courts to require that perpetrators of some of these anti-Asian hate crimes spend time lawmakers to take a
I'm gonna look at it
stand
again. I'm gonna
against
rewind.
racism,
Hold on.
against
Fair
this
use.
hate. They
Fair
did
use.
that today. Only
So,
one
I
Republican,
want
Josh
ABC
Hawley of
I'm gonna
Missouri,
talk through
voted
it.
no.
I'm
The
gonna
bill
speed up
now
a
heads
little
over to
bit.
the House. They'll get a vote likely next month. And because of the overwhelming support today, most people here think it has a pretty good chance of becoming law, Lindsay.
And so what would the bill actually do in order to prevent anti-AAPI hate crimes?
Yeah, supporters basically say this does two things. First, it helps law enforcement get a handle on the problem. It would initiate a public education campaign in multiple Asian languages to get members of that community to come forward and to share their stories if they've been victimized. It would also establish some reporting hotlines and create an online tracking system to keep tabs on the number of these cases that are out there. So far, a lot of that data slips through the cracks. Then the law would also prioritize the investigation and prosecution of these anti-Asian hate crimes. It would create a point person at the Justice Department, give more money to local police to train them to help them identify these cases. And get this, Lindsay, the law would even allow.
Look at what it says. What would the bill do? So this is what it says on ABC. This is for Roland. This is for other. They got that other black dude. I think it's Keith Boykins. If I'm not mistaken, Tariq has been back and forth with him. I want to make sure I get the name right. I don't want to say somebody's name incorrectly. I don't want to misidentify anybody, but you say here, this is from 2022, what the bill would do: a point person for anti-APPI hate, local police training, require offenders to learn from the community. Okay, where do you see this with black people? Even with LGBTQ, they have, in some cities, they have ordinances, they have laws, they have rules that go over stuff like this. If they say something inappropriate about somebody, they got to go to sensitivity training. That happened in the NFL when Michael Sam got drafted, and it was a Miami Dolphins player. This was 10 years ago. There was a Miami Dolphins player, a cornerback, when he saw Michael Sam and his boyfriend getting intimate on TV, he made a comment on Twitter of the likes like, "Oh, I can't believe this. That's disgusting." And they sent him to sensitivity training.
Courts to require that perpetrators of some of these anti-Asian hate crimes spend time in the communities that they have hurt and offended as part of their restitution. Civil rights groups very happy with this today, even though they are relatively modest steps.
And meanwhile, today the House voted narrowly along party lines to make the District of Columbia our 51st state. Why does that face such an uphill battle in the Senate?
Yeah, I mean, now that Democrats control the White House, they control Congress, we have all this momentum around racial justice in this country. Democrats have been excited about this moment for D.C. statehood. They took a big step today. For decades, of course, residents in this city have paid taxes, but they don't have representation in Congress. Of course, D.C. has one of a population that's larger
than stop there. So yeah, so that's part of that. Now, but you got Poppin' Fresh Doughboy, as Judge Joe Brown, Poppin' Fresh Doughboy, Roland Martin. You know, he got the brother Jamal Green ran up on him in Chicago. No wonder the woman stood in front of him. She had more balls than he did. And I don't care. Look. Y'all get mad. Y'all can say what y'all want because he's blocked me. I don't care. I don't like the man. Everybody knows Roland Martin is an asshole. Apparently, allegedly, he likes looking at him too. So he likes dick, made look like dicking him. Fuck. Poppin' Fresh Doughboy. I don't know what the requirements are for A5A. I've read it, but according to Judge Joe Brown, he said they must be lowering their standards. You wouldn't survive with my time and period. That little sissified punk. I like to get my freak on. What you ain't never seen an owl do my freak? Get my freak. They got another picture. This was one I had. I saw. Beep beep. What's the matter, fools? Never seen an owl get his freak on? Beep 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 beep. Poppin' Fresh Doughboy. Allegedly, bro. Yeah, but that vote shaming stuff ain't gonna work, man. And I had to talk about that because that was the main thing that was trending the other day. I saw it, and my run-ins, especially with Roland Martin, I could tell I wasn't just when I met him that time out here for Essence Fest, I wasn't dealing with a man. Just wasn't a nice guy after all. He just an asshole. Anybody will tell you that, and he knows that. Everybody that's run into him has said something has not been positive. I like the show. And he said he wasn't actually, that video played over. That wasn't something I was looking for. That wasn't something I searched in. X goes off your algorithm. That algorithm goes off what you're looking at, from as far as I know. So no, he may have not. It did roll over, and I think it was a reality TV show based out in Australia or somewhere overseas. I don't watch it. I really don't watch too many reality shows or TV. If I watch anything, I watch some scripted stuff. I haven't been in the reality stuff probably since Flavor of Love or something. I'm being real with you. And that was a while ago. But let's go ahead. But that was, I had to keep it light on that one. Swollen got caught. Yeah, everybody's just been lit into him, man. Nobody, who's following Roland Martin or Joy Reid or who was the other one? He's deceased. Joe Madison and all of that. Those guys are past their prime. I mean, look at even the radio show. Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, D.L. Hughley. Young people aren't listening to radio. That's our parents and grandparents that listen to that. They are part of that generation. I had no choice when I was a kid, and my father was driving me to school to listen to Tom Joyner, and it was Tom Joyner in the morning. In the afternoons, we had the local radio. And I think like LBJ, well, this is local black radio. This was before the corporations took over. Doesn't exist anymore, your local black channels. But anyway, guys, we got to talk about that local black radio is dead. Podcast now is taking over everything. We got to talk about this. The shooting, unfortunately, that occurred yesterday at the Apalachee High School in Georgia. We're talking about it. So I'm going to go ahead again. So what everybody knows, if you've been living under a rock, major thing that's happened is that you've had about 4 kids that were killed, 4 others injured at this Georgia school shooting that took place out in Apalachee High School. According to, now, they didn't show the originally, they didn't show the shooter at the time. And that suspect has now been identified as Colt Gray. And I posted his picture up. I think this is a he, although I've seen reports that supposedly, and I'm not going to say it's true or not, but there was something trending on Twitter or X that the person was trans. But this is a picture of supposedly of Colt Gray before the incident. And I'm gonna show his mugshot because they would do the same thing to us. He's being charged as an adult for murder, as well as under charges as well. And I'm gonna also show a picture of the individuals that sadly were all killed, that lost their life as a result of him. And of course, yeah, do I have to say allegedly? Yes, he hasn't been convicted. So while he has not been convicted, it looks like, I mean, it doesn't look good, obviously, for him being identified. What they say with the supposedly the AR-15 was the weapon supposedly that was used, but we're going to get into that and also talk about his father, because his father was also charged with this crime. But that's his mugshot. That's Colt Gray. That's him there. And someone wrote, did they take him to Burger King or Chick-fil-A? Yeah, Dylan Roof asked for got Burger King. I'm thinking this time, because it's Georgia, it was definitely Chick-fil-A. Definitely Chick-fil-A. I think he got that 8-piece nugget with that Arnold Palmer, if anything. And so, yeah. Now, I'm going to play some video from that incident. Also, we have video. One of the students who described what happened, fair use. So I'm going to play some of that. And also, just to let you all know, the father of Colt Gray has also been arrested. His name is Colin Gray, who's 54. And we're going to go into the aspects of it about how this kid got a gun. Because apparently, according to the charges, because he was arrested today, he actually gave his son the weapon. He had bought it for him, according to the reports, for Christmas. So I'm going to play the video courtesy of CBS News, fair use. We're going to dissect it. I'm going to talk through it. So here we go right here. Fair use, by the way.
The suspect in Wednesday's school shooting in Winder, Georgia. Police are now giving an update. Let's listen.
Colin is Colt Gray's father that was arrested yesterday. He is charged with the following: 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. Mr. Gray, these charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son, Colt, to possess a weapon. This is a very difficult time, as we know, for students and parents, and so many I know of students and parents here in this county and around this state are afraid. You all have likely seen reports of incidents of other students making threats today at various schools around our state. In each of these incidents, police, law enforcement took charges, they made arrests, acted very swiftly, as we take incidents like this very seriously across this state. This is a time for all of us as a community and a state to come together and remain vigilant. Students must be supported and encouraged here in this community and across the state to contact a member of their school faculty with any and all concerns of suspicious activity that they may see. Local, state, and federal law enforcement will continue to work together around the clock in relation to this incident here and any other incidents that come up around this state that raise concern to the safety of our students, faculty, and citizens here in the state of Georgia. Additionally, Colt Gray, that was arrested yesterday for this incident, has now been charged with 4 counts of felony murder. And again, we will continue to work tirelessly to complete this investigation as we move forward. I will go ahead and mention to you, and as I say sometimes, I'm going to go ahead and apologize to you. As y'all all know, that this is a murder investigation. It is a very serious investigation, one that we take serious, one that we will continue to diligently work on and be very thorough with it, with the GBI and our local partners here. So you'll have to forgive us if we don't answer a lot of the questions that you ask. I know you have many, and we wish we could answer many of them for you, but we still obviously want to maintain the integrity of this investigation because it has a long way to go for it to be finished. Again, I also want to remind everyone that we need to continue to pray and support the victims that were involved here, the school teachers, the faculty, the students, obviously those that lost their lives, their families, and those that were injured. So I'd like to call on the sheriff to come and give you a brief update on the status of those that were injured from yesterday's event. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Hosey. As Director Hosey said, I'd like to say that obviously we're lifting up those families. Our hearts are hurting for them, our kids, our students, our teachers. But the 9 injured, I am very happy to say will make a full recovery. And that's a testament to the response that we had, in my opinion, the response that medical staff responded with, in my opinion. And we're very happy to say that they will make a full recovery after that response. Again, please lift up our community. Please keep these children, these teachers. We call them teachers, but I call them heroes. We met with them today. Emotions are very high, obviously, but we told them that We love them. We love our teachers and what they do. And we're very happy at the fact that they stood in the gap between evil to protect their children, and we want to include them in the lives that were saved as well yesterday. But I wanted to report to you that all 9 people that are injured will expect to make a full recovery. Thank you.
Are they still in the hospital?
Several of them are still in the hospital. Some have been released.
And Director, can you please explain, did the father actually give the gun to the suspect?
Well, I'm gonna leave it as how I mentioned it in the release, that he knowingly allowed him to possess the weapon.
Director, can you tell us about how the arrest happened today?
You know, said he knowingly and willingly allowed the son to possess the weapon, supposedly bought it for Christmas. I'm going to also point out as well, y'all know what's going on or what happened recently in some police shootings that they had, where that family, not police shootings, I'm sorry, the school shootings, where that family, those parents were found guilty. I think that was up somewhere in Michigan. Jennifer and James Crumbly, yeah. They got sentenced to 10 years in prison for not stopping their son. That was in Oxford High School. Yeah. They were the first parents convicted for the shooting for allowing their son to possess a gun and kill 4 students in 2021. Yeah.
Contact with them.
So they're not playing. They've changed. They're not playing games.
I'm not familiar with the details. All I can tell you is that he is in custody.
Fair use, by the way.
Is it likely anyone else will be arrested in this case, or is that still possible?
It's difficult to say at this point in time. We're obviously still investigating this, following all leads, all evidence, and we'll set to see where it takes us as we progress forward.
You know, when this firearm should have been made sooner.
The arrest was made when we had the probable cause to make the arrest.
Do we know when his first court appearance will be?
I'm not sure. No.
Did the dad bring him to school?
I'm not sure about that either. I'm sorry.
Are you able to explain the charges and how he has more charges than the suspected shooter?
Not in great detail. The biggest thing, as I mentioned earlier, is that he is in custody at this point in time. His charges are directly connected with the actions of his son and allowing him to possess a weapon.
Sheriff, will he be housed in your facility? Is that where he'll be held? How does that move forward?
He'll be held in the Barrow County Detention Center.
Will his mugshot be available tonight, or will it take some time until tomorrow to get it?
It depends on how long it takes us to book him, but if it's available, we can get that to y'all tonight.
Sheriff,
if not tomorrow.
You said some good news that some have been released. Do you know the numbers of patients that have been released, victims?
I don't want to speak to that because I don't know the exact number, but I know that I want to just report that all 9 would make a full recovery and be able to leave the hospital.
Sure. There are 9 people that were injured. Do we know if they are a mix of students and teachers or staff, or are they just students?
I believe 2 were adult teachers, and the rest, which would be 7, would be students.
Right. Director, can you explain whether there's precedent for charges like this?
I'm sorry?
Can you explain whether there's precedent in the state of Georgia as far as the GBI is concerned for the father or parent to charge for the crime?
I don't have any details on any history of it, but I would venture to say it's not something new.
Can you tell us about the evidence?
Those are the 4 victims. I'm gonna pause there. Kristen Angulo, Mason, Sherman Horn, Richard Aspinwall, and Christina Eremy. The 2 on the right, obviously, that's the teacher. That's one of the football coaches, I believe. And the 2 on the left, obviously, are students. And we're going to talk about Master Mason in a minute, because I'll just pause for a second. I'll leave that alone right now.
No, ma'am. That's part of the ongoing investigation. I apologize.
Sheriff, after all this time with him being able to talk with investigators, you were pretty strong yesterday. We're saying this was an evil act. It's very sad, obviously, but looking back at what the 14-year-old's been able to say to investigators over the last 24 hours, can you reflect on just what this community is facing after what he allegedly did at this school?
What we're facing, heartbreak. We're heartbroken. A young person brought a gun into a school, committed an evil act, and he took lives, and he injured many other people, not only physically, but mentally. But I'm proud of Bexar County. I'm proud of our superintendent. I'm proud of these teachers. I'm proud of these schools. And I'm proud of where I live. And we'll get past this. If you see behind me, up here on the hill, we got a vigil going on at our flagpole. I welcome you to go see those kids and those young people that are hurting.
Director, can you please explain whether you're still expecting more charges?
I think I answered that earlier. Our investigation is still ongoing. So we'll see where things go with our investigation. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you so much. That's all we have for tonight. Continue to follow the GBI on X. Please monitor our website. We did not anticipate another update, but as you can see, it's fluid. Things are developing. Again, we appreciate your patience and your support and your continued prayers.
So you're talking about, just so everybody understands, 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children, which means there were 8 kids that were, of course, we know 2 were murdered. 8 kids likely were injured in the shooting. 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, meaning all 4 of those other individuals, including the 2 adults. So they're holding this father accountable. Now, the FBI knew about this troublemaker, this shit. They knew about this kid back in 2023. According to the reports, if you've seen this, they had back in 2023, they had questioned Colt Gray because of some images and posts that they saw he allegedly made that contained images of guns. And they spoke with him, both he and his father. According to the reports, they revealed on Wednesday that it had investigated the suspect who used, obviously, an AR platform weapon in the shooting for allegedly making online threats to carry out a school shooting in May of 2023. The suspect, who was then 13, was found by Jackson County Sheriff's Office deputies and interviewed according to the FBI. His father told investigators that the family had hunting guns in the house, but that the teenager did not have unsupervised access to them. Now, that was in May of 2023. Now, what you're reading here, this is just a brief summary of what happened here. I'm reading a more detailed summary of it from the article from The Independent. But based off what I read recently, is that, especially if you look at the article here from CBS News, supposedly he bought this gun as a gift to his son for Christmas. It says CBS News that the teen's father purchased the AR-style weapon that was described by officials for his son in December of 2023. And according to 4 federal law enforcement sources close to the investigation, that's what the federal law enforcement sources purported. You know, when you buy a weapon and firearm and they do a background check on you, they're going to ring up everything. And obviously, this kid at 14 years old couldn't have bought that. Usually, they don't allow you to buy what's called long barrel weapons until you reach the age of 18, generally speaking. But the parent obviously buys it. And an AR-15, if it were, well, they say AR platform style weapon. So it may have not been an AR-15, but they could have put attachments and bump stocks on it to make it look like a AR style weapon. I've seen that before, where people have taken even normal handguns and they got bumps and stocks they add to it, which makes it shoot in this power like a rifle. Now, that's his mugshot. That's Tang's mugshot. right there. And then we got, of course, what we know what happened in Georgia. And I said I had some video that I was going to show you all of a lot of the kids, for some of the kids that were there, as to what happened. They tell their side of the story. So this is courtesy of, this is on Yahoo News. So this young lady, this teenager, was one of the students there at Apalachee High School. Let's have her speak.
Lila, who's 16 years old. She was actually in algebra class just this morning, elbow to elbow with that shooter, Colt Gray, as he's been named by the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. Lila, let me first start with, how are you? How are you coping?
I'm okay. I'm pushing through it, talking to friends, making sure, everyone else is okay, checking on people around me.
Can you bring me back? What happened?
I just remember, the moment that it happened, he was at the door, and I knew they were looking for him already, but he was at the door, and they almost let him in until they backed up, and then he turned away, and that's when you hear, the first rounds of fire.
So he was in class with you, in algebra class. He left. Then he came back, was at the door, and then knocking to be let back in. Why? You told me something about the doors.
Yeah, they lock automatically, so you have to be let in to come back into our classroom. So I think he wanted to come to us first.
Come to you first to shoot?
Yes, to shoot us.
Damn.
And then he was at the door. Student went to open the door, and then what happened?
She backed away. I think she saw him, or maybe somebody said something, but I'm pretty sure she saw that he had a gun, and so she backed away.
Right.
So she was about to let him into the class. You think to shoot the students, saw that he had a gun, did not let him in. What happened next?
He turns to the classroom to what would have been my right, and he just starts to shoot, and you hear about 10 to 15 rounds back to back.
What did you hear? What did you think was going on in those moments?
As soon as they didn't let him in, you kind of I don't know, I already kind of had a feeling it was gonna happen and it was him. But as soon as they didn't let him in, and you hear the gunshots, you kind of no.
Right. So she was lucky. The kids were lucky that were there. She was right next to him, elbow to elbow, according to her, in class when he started this stuff. That's his mugshot. That's his mugshot there. Waiting to see the father's mugshot. I don't like posting, especially with stuff online, because everything moves at the speed of light online, but things don't get thoroughly checked. But Colin Gray, that's supposedly him, some pictures of him. And already I have some bookmarks here I left. I was checking out. Supposedly there's some footage of the incident inside there, and some of the family members have said something. And I haven't seen this footage or where this is from, but this is supposedly a Facebook post from one of the family members, supposedly Annie Polhamus Brown, who's saying they are charging my 14-year-old nephew as an adult for murder. Y'all ready to see Polhamus blood in full throttle? Nah, I wouldn't be either. And she's talking about she did everything she could for my nephew and my niece and my other nephew. Y'all can go ahead and play the games, the blame game all you want, but the families affected by my nephew's actions deserves all the attention. I'll take care of my nephew and what he needs on the side. Just check yourself before you speak about a child that never asked to deal with. This is exactly, now I can't read the rest of it. I don't know where it's come from, the video standpoint of it. And if I went on Facebook, I'm pretty sure if she made this public, she's probably already got her Facebook page blocked or private at this point, so nobody could comment on it. But this is a woman who is basically, this is part of the problem, is that we got people out here making excuses for evil. There are people that are trying to justify their child, their son, their family. They know they did wrong, but will blame everybody else except the person that did the shooting, that did the shit in the first place. I can't even find what I can look and see what she said. I will not disrespect other parents and families that are dealing with this tragedy on the opposite end. They did not deserve this. But I will not leave my nephew standing alone. When Uvalde happened, I told my own children that only hurt people hurt people. Bullshit. That's a cop-out. That's a cop-out to all of this stuff. I've never seen, as much as I know of people, I know people who've been bullied. And I don't know what his lifestyle is, Colt Gray's lifestyle, what he's been through or whatever. But I had never thought I had parents, even with the stuff I was going through, that were active in my life, that if I even thought of going to do something unthinkable or dastardly like this, they would have done with everything within their power to, first off, stop me from doing it. And they would have kicked my ass for getting in trouble. You see, we are a society now that doesn't like others to take responsibility. That's what we've become. We are a society that says to hell with responsibility, hell with your own, blame everybody else for the shit you made. And I've seen that, and I'm even speaking as a defense lawyer. I'm just also, but I'm a real person. I'm a person too, and I've seen a reality where parents will, the family of one family member who was killed, they fight with the other family who murdered someone. The family of the victim of the murderer will always get mad at the victim family and start fighting and blaming them for everything while their loved one is in jail, instead of blaming the loved one who was stupid enough to do the shooting. See, we don't consider that. You can see what looks like to be a rifle on the floor there. But yeah, we don't do that as a nation, as a country now. We've become something else. Let me put some music on, because it's going to make it a little better for me. Make sure y'all smashing up that likes. Oh, y'all, we're going to take a little quick break. I'll be right back. Hold on. we're back. All right. So, I know we got more people in here. Make sure y'all smashing up the likes, ladies and gentlemen. Smash up those likes. Yeah. We're talking about it. I called this episode tonight, and I didn't get into explaining what I was calling it. I called it false positive for a reason. So let me get to the main thing we were talking about. Of course, I was talking about personal responsibility. I was talking about this woman. Her name is Palamas, who actually, if you go in and look and just type her name in, this woman, Annie Palamas Brown, that was defending Colt Gray, her nephew. Do y'all know she's on? If just Googling or looking up on Facebook, they already got articles on her defending her nephew. They've already got it. Y'all saw the shit. So, I mean, and that just shows you that can apply on both sides. That's not just coming from one a black family. That's white people do it too. They make excuses all the time for shit that happens with mass shootings. They try to blame mental illness. They try to blame, a lack of sensitivity. All of this stuff, and nothing justifies it. Nothing. I get that stuff happens, but well, I'm gonna get back to that. I've said enough on that. I don't want to talk about that anymore because I get upset. But I called it false positive for a reason. Now, the main reason why I want to talk about why I called it false positive was this. How many of you have not, you go on X right now, WSB TV, which is the ABC affiliate for out in Georgia. I think that's out in Atlanta. They had this. This is the picture of the young man that was killed. This is a picture of the victim I told you about earlier. And that is the young man. His name is, that's the young brother. His name was Mason. I have a nephew named Mason. And Mason, let me get his last name. Mason Mirhorn, make sure I pronounce that right. The late, who was a 14-year-old kid. By all accounts, his parents, his uncle, I read to you what they had to say about him. They described him, and I'm not, of course, all the other victims I feel sorry and pray for, but I'm talking about him because his image came up with that of this killer, Colt Gray. I'm saying alleged for legal reasons, but it's obviously it is what it is. I think it's even talking as a criminal defense attorney, barring some type of, I'm sure they may go with a mental illness defense, which he could. I don't know if he did have or not, but obviously it's no question he's the one that did the shooting. By all accounts, and from what everyone says, the woman identified him and knew who he was, and so forth. It looks that way. Let's just put it that way. But by all accounts, they said he really enjoyed life. He had an upbeat attitude about everything. With a family friend by the name of Kilburn, Doug Kilburn said. But they put him as a suspect here. A 14-year-old suspect, Colt Gray, was arrested. Now I noticed especially if you look at some photographs, and I've seen with news articles, it's not uncommon that if I have seen a few times where they may put a picture up of someone that was not the actual suspect or shooting. It's very rare. But here, and my gripe with this is that this is a 14-year-old boy who was the one that was the victim. And the way the title reads, it would make you think that he was Colt Gray, but no, he's not. Now I can see from how with the link, how the title of the article is going to start and so forth. But according to this, even someone said they're not. This is WSB-TV is not the only one. They Googled it, and Daily Mail had, or should I say Daily Steel, now y'all can read it here. The person who posted it, they put up an apology and said, quote, "For your information, I posted a new media Daily Mail photo from today's school shooting that was labeled as shooter code gray, copy below for purposes of transparency. I since deleted the photo and related context because, in fact, the photo is not that of killer Coach Gray, but rather of one of Gray's helpless victims, Mason Mearhorn, as the Daily Mail itself notes deep into its article. Both photos are included here, again, for purposes of transparency. My sincere apologies and condolences to the Schmearhorn family, and shame on you, Daily Mail. You're supposed to be professional journalists." Now, they've always done this. Daily Mail has always done some shit like this. But WSB-TV, for instance, out in Atlanta, I even had to get in and tweet on it because I felt it was, well, I know it was irresponsible. It was irresponsible. It was to me, it was racial. They've done this all the time. They did this to it, and what made it worse, they did this to a child. Now, they apologize. Now, they put out this response that's got over 403,000 views. They said, in a tweet about the Apalachee High School shooting posted by WSB-TV, the context and photo of one of the victims were unintentionally presented on X in a way that made it appear as if the victim was the shooter. The post was removed shortly after it went live, and immediately after we were alerted to the situation. Deeply regret this error and sincerely apologize to the victims' families and loved ones. So the question though I have is, who is the employee that put that out? Now, this was about 7 hours ago when this came out, when they tweeted this. I don't believe that this was a mistake, that they just rushed this out. They never even had, remember, they really didn't have the identity of this shooter up until, his mugshot, I didn't see it up until a few hours afterwards, after they put this out. Yeah, Cheryl, I'll if you go to the YouTube channel, actually, I'll put it in the chat. I have my email address in here. I'll put it in the comments section. Cheryl the Pearl, ladies and gentlemen, always supportive as well. We are competing against NFL Network, NBC, because they got 2 games on. It's on Peacock and on NBC. And I think Judge is doing his show on Thursday now with Dana again. He's back. Yeah, a lot's going on. But my point with this whole thing, no, they had to have known about all of this. They knew what they were doing. It's not a surprise. They do this all the time. They push propaganda. News media, television is called television programming. That's the abbreviated form of it. That's what TV does. It programs you. You get excited about a TV show. You get excited about a movie that comes on. You're sitting there watching. You're not thinking. You're not doing anything else. You want to be entertained. That's what they do. That's what they are doing. So it's all propaganda. They knew what they were doing with that young brother. They knew what they were doing. You know, and my heart goes out to that family, all the families that were victims of this coward. That were victims of something so dastardly. You know, I can't imagine. But of course, they want to relate this, and Biden is coming out. He's going around, and he said something about it. Basically, how you know, and you got the New York Times doing a story on it, where they're calling for action on guns. He called for an AR-15 ban, which first and foremost, AR-15s are the civilian variant of the military's M16, which is an automatic weapon. AR-15 stands for Armalite. It was the 15th design of the company. That's what AR stands for. It doesn't stand for assault rifle. An AR-15 shoots a 22 caliber bullet, which is not very powerful. If you went in battle with it, you would lose. I'm talking about battle on the battlefield in the military, which is why they don't give it to them. They give them automatic weapons to use when dealing with the enemy. And the bottom line is that you can't, you know, the bottom line is there is no weapon, there's no law that can stop, unfortunately, lunacy. There's nothing that's going to stop evil. We couldn't stop, Jesus Christ couldn't stop people from killing him. When he healed the high priest servant's ear, it made their minds up. The Pharisees still made their minds up. They said guilty. They didn't care. They wanted Jesus dead. The point is saying, when it comes to gun laws and guns in this country, you look at schools. I look at all of the, I look at the school shootings. First off, even with an AR-15, let's say he didn't have an AR-15. Let's say he did what the Virginia Tech shooter had. He used a handgun, and he was able to kill 20-something people. Now, the point when I made the analogy with Jesus, my thing is that if the Son of God couldn't convince people, there's nothing to do right. There's no law on earth that's going to convince a madman from stopping to do what he wants. Now, what we can do and how we prevent stuff like this, first off, we need parents to be held responsible for their children. We need to understand between right and wrong. We got to address mental health issues in this country. I believe people are stressed out, especially when they're working a 9 to 5 from Monday through Friday, sometimes even 7 days. You work, you're stressed out, you have no money. You're paying Rob and Peter to pay Paul with your bills. You know, most of this stuff does start from economics. Like crime, it does start from that. So it does happen. But we don't do a good job of addressing it. So there's nothing that's going to stop these shootings. And you have thousands of gun laws already on the books, guys. Federal and state laws. You can't even walk on a sidewalk if it's a gun-free zone. Even if you're concealed carry, you probably can't even walk on a sidewalk by a school. I wouldn't advise it, even if you were legally carrying. They have these laws, but criminals don't care. When someone wants to do something, they do it, and they pick on the vulnerable. They pick on the vulnerable, which is our children, because they cannot defend themselves. The coward who shot Dylan Roof, that white supremacist coward bastard, he went in Mother Emanuel and shot all 9 of those people. Why? Because they were not just unarmed. He picked on them because, being by the fact that they were unarmed in a church. They were targets. They couldn't put up a defense. That was the point. That was the whole point of this. They need to have deputies inside these schools from 7 to 4 in the day. They need to have deputies there. The moment the kids get in schools to the moment they leave. At least at each entrance, at least 4 deputies, I'd say. It's gonna cost money, but hey, I think it's worth it. Now, of course, they gotta be trained, they gotta be smart, because we just don't want every person to be in there, who just get a gun, don't know what the hell they're doing. We can't have that. I'm not talking about people being just armed in schools. I'm talking about law enforcement. That's what I think. I don't think of private individuals being inside schools per se with firearms. I know they were talking about arming teachers at one time. I don't like that concept necessarily. Teachers having guns, kids get on their nerves. Let's be real. We're seeing kids fighting teachers now. That might cause a problem. Deputies, law enforcement officials, I think it should be required. They even have devices now where they're even changing the school lockdowns, like the girl was saying. I think those are helpful too, unless the shooter is in the classroom with everybody, then that would be screwed up. But devices like that can protect kids from coming in, I think that would be great. So there are ways to do that, but blaming the guns is just a cop-out. There's other things we can do. The guns are the excuse, and it's the easiest thing everybody wants to do is blame the firearms and so forth, blame the gun. But remember something: an AR-15 can't walk into a school. Not a Colt 357 Magnum, not a Glock 9, nothing. Biden is just talking, but nobody about it. But nobody. Hold on, I gotta show this. Hold on, I gotta show the school shooting. So he addressed it. And he released a statement.
Bipartisan Safer Communities Act is the most meaningful gun safety bill in decades. The White House press secretary spoke within hours after the shooting happened, saying something has to be done.
We continue to call on Congress to do something. To do something. Enough is enough. And I cannot say this enough, which is enough is enough. We cannot allow this to happen in our communities. We cannot allow this to happen in our schools.
The Biden administration is closely coordinating with officials at the federal, state, and local level.
How are you going to stop? Okay, enough is enough. I agree with you. But how do you stop murder? This was murder, right? Since man has been alive, the moment he made fire, people have been getting killed for whatever reason. Murder happens just like death, and we have laws to prevent against that. If you commit like this, if this was an adult, he's going to be tried as an adult. But you kill someone, you shoot somebody, robbing a bank, they can charge you with first-degree murder in Louisiana if they prove you had the specific intent to kill, and they can ask for the death penalty. Now we have that in place. If that's not a deterrent and people still do it, how is banning the gun going to stop it? And the problem we have here, supposedly, we had a father who basically was irresponsible and didn't see warning signs about his child. Because if the FBI came there and stopped him, and I know he was probably just defending his kid, and all the kid could do was deny it. But then supposedly after the incident happened in May of 2023, your next thought was to buy your child a gun? Are you serious for Christmas?
On top of the comments there from the White House,
My
we're also
goodness.
hearing from both presidential candidates. Vice
That ain't
President Kamala Harris spoke on
that's
the tragedy
stupid.
during a campaign event yesterday, sharing her support to everybody impacted. Harris says it is outrageous that parents have to worry about their children at school, and it needs to stop.
And it's just outrageous that every day in our country, in the United States of America, that parents have to send their children to school worried about whether or not their child will come home alive. It's senseless. It is, we've got to stop it.
Former President Donald Trump posting on True Social saying our hearts are with the victims and loved ones of those affected by the tragic event in Winder, Georgia, and that these cherished children were taken from us far too soon by a sick and deranged monster. We are gathering reaction from people across Georgia and the nation. To find the latest, you can look for our special section on 11alive.com. You'll find it at the top of the homepage.
So that's that. Yeah, man, I don't see nothing else. You know, it's easy. That's the easiest thing to do is to blame the guns. But yeah, like I said, we have other things to worry about. And the main thing is this: they're already coming for your First Amendment rights. As you know, even Tim Walz and Kamala Harris even said, Tim Walz said something along the lines about how the First Amendment can be limited. He said this. And Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, actually said something similar. Hold on. He said there's no guarantee to free speech. That's what he said, on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy. And you know, back in 2020, 2019, Kamala Harris was talking about challenging when she was when they were running for presidents. She was running for president, even as vice president. They've worked, and it's come out that the Biden administration, Mark Zuckerberg admitted that the government was trying to get him to get involved, especially on misinformation. They were getting involved on that. But the question is, what is misinformation? Then who challenges that? Who calls that? He said there's no guarantee to free speech. Which is not true. The Supreme Court said, and I'm going to put the link in the chat, there is no hate speech exception to the First Amendment. The First Amendment generally protects views that the government would label hateful as much as it protects other views. Because even lying, and the courts have said this in different court cases like New York Times versus Sullivan and United States versus Alvarez, that even deliberate lies about the government are considered constitutionally protected speech. Hell, look at your tabloids that you see. That would be speech where they post a lot of lies, a lot of rumors and innuendo and gossip online. You know, we know it's parody, it's tabloids, but they're allowed to print it. Freedom of the press. Yeah. Tim Walz said this on NBC. He said, I'm not going to play the whole video, but yeah, he said this, that there's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speeches, and especially around our democracy. Who is misinformation? What is that? He says, we need to push back on this. This is someone who's the vice president, or the vice presidential candidate, running for office saying this. And Kamala has said something similar. But yet, she's actually in the administration with Joe Biden. They're doing that. But nobody's talking and pushing about that. So they come for your First Amendment rights. Guess what? Your Second Amendment rights are surely next. And the Second Amendment is there to back up your First Amendment. Why? It's to protect you from tyranny. It's not about that. And it trumps. I saw it, and people may not like it, like what I say, but it trumps any other issue going on that you may think. If you're talking about gun violence or anything like that, drug shootings, mass shootings, whatever. Yes. Weighing the two, the balance on the scale, the prospect of tyranny frightens me more than some punk motherfucker that's going into school shooting kids. I'm not saying, of course, I like it. I don't. I'm not saying nothing should be done about it. Let me clarify. I don't. When I say it frightens me more, because to have Big Brother, yes. To have the government censoring you, being tyrants, because this thing, they're going to be ordering you to tell you what to eat, where to go, how to dress, what music to listen to, what TV to watch, what not to read. Remember when they say reading is fundamental? Fun is the root word. Think. It's not illegal yet. They're working on it. Before I go, I see this too. Steph Curry, I knew he was going to do this, but he actually endorsed. Yeah, I saw something trending about him endorsing Kamala Harris because she's with abortion. He wants to protect abortions because he can't have any.
Issues you care about most?
Say what?
What are the issues you care about?
I just know from especially women's rights and thinking about, what's at stake with this election, and understanding like we need to be in a position where women have the right to choose what's right for them.
That's his number one
at the top of the list
priority.
for me. I have amazing women in my life who, been a huge inspiration to me. But knowing Kamala and having been around her, and I understand she's qualified for this job. She's
How does abortion benefit you, Steph? How does that benefit the community? How does that benefit Black folk?
What it means to be a great leader,
Oh my
and
God.
being a decent human being in terms of
Don't vote for
representing our country.
No,
the right way.
that's one thing. But
It's an easy choice for me, but to be able to have be in a situation where you can
that's the top
be a part of the
priority.
DNC, do a video like
It's
that.
a multi-millionaire. I even there was a story and video that broke out a few months ago about Steph, supposedly in his neighborhood, how he was even trying to keep out. Supposedly he and his wife were trying to keep out certain people moving in.
Let people know where I feel like to foster positive conversations, through it all. I think that's what our country needs.
Steph, I think you're the greatest shooter that ever lived, but you shot a blank with this one, man. You shot a brick. You shot a brick with that one. You can vote for who you want. I don't blame him for supporting somebody he knows, and it doesn't surprise me. But damn, come on, man. He's endorsed her, and Putin endorsed. Did y'all know Putin endorsed Kamala Harris? Listen to this.
It used to be Joe Biden, but now he's not participating in the election campaign, and he recommended to all his allies to support Ms. Harris. So that is what we are going to do. So it was, well, he said that we should, that is why we should also do that. Well, her laugh, she's laughing, her laugh is so fascinating. It means that everything is good, and if everything is good,
means that we could walk over you.
It means that, for instance, if we're speaking about Joe Biden, there are so many sanctions against Russia introduced, and if everything is good with Ms. Harris, maybe she'll refrain herself from such measures, or maybe she'll change them. So in the end, it will be the choice of the US people, and we will respect this choice.
Putin knows he's gonna walk over Kamala. That laughing her way to a country near you. Yeah. Anyway, y'all, I'm gonna wrap this thing up. See, I cursed myself when I said it wasn't gonna be long. An hour and 30 minutes. But we had a great broadcast. If you love me for my time, pay me for my time. Drop something in the Cash App or PayPal or Zelle. You know, the channel's not monetized. If you want to support us and keep me going, anything is appreciated. We also thank you for your donation, by the way, Cheryl. I appreciate it. Shout out to you, Danielle, everybody else who's been here. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to wrap this up. I hope you've had a good one. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Make sure you hit that. Buy the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby on Amazon Kindle. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Be one, be safe, and be blessed. I'll holla. Peace.